Hey y'all, you want me to show you how I did my DIY camper sink and water system? Stick around.
Oh, we got a leak. Let me show you what I've done so far. I bought a couple of these 3/4 inch edge glued panels from the hardware store. I've glued these up and all I did was use the pocket hole system to joint these together. And really what you would normally want to do if you wanted this to be really nice is you'd go with 2 long pieces and you would go with a diagonal right here for your countertop. That would be the most home-like, I should say. But again, to save money, I just went with joining it on the side like this. This top is pine, by the way, so it is going to be soft, so keep that in mind. I applied a fast drying stain and then a water-based varnish on top of that. I put in this 15 by 15 sink and I put in a way too big faucet. I'm right on the edge of shooting this out. Originally, I had bought a much bigger sink for this and this was gonna be fine for that. And then I was like, this is ridiculous. It was way too big. So I bought this, I sent that one back, bought this 15 by 15. So I've got this installed and underneath here, hello, I bought and installed a camper drain system for the bottom of the sink. Let's get to the heart of the DIY camper / van water system, okay? And I'll put links to most of this stuff. Anything that I can put a link to, I will put a link to in the description. So the first thing is these water containers. One's gonna be for your fresh water and one for your gray water. I should also say that I got a lot of the information that I figured out for this from Van Life Customs, I think it's the name of it, and I just had to tweak it a little bit to fit my application. The other thing that I've got here is this water pump, and I've got one that is, it's 110, but you can also get a 12-volt version of this if that works better for you. I've also got a plethora of accessories and everything that I'll go over here, and I literally had to spend like 2 hours in Lowe's in the plumbing department trying to figure out, because different threads and everything, trying to make this work. So I'll do my best to explain what I've got going on with all of this stuff. As usual, I will be working off of a very precise set of plans. First thing we're gonna do is take these caps off of these, and you can see they actually come with a spout, which for this application, totally useless. So you can just chuck those. But what's great is it's already threaded, so that's what makes these really good. I'm gonna do the gray water side first, and I've got the cap for what will be my gray water tank. Don't get your tanks mixed up later, okay? Because that would be kind of disgusting. The biggest issue that I ran into with this, and I mean, it's not hard, is that there are different thread patterns, okay? And I'm not a plumber, so if you watch this and you're like, this guy's an idiot, he doesn't understand what that thread pattern's called. No, I don't, okay? And I don't care. All I know is that the first thing I need is a garden hose adapter in order to make the 2 thread patterns work. So I'm gonna put that in. Then I've also got these quick disconnect for garden hoses. These I ordered online, and then I've got some thread tape. And again, I probably don't need thread tape for this part especially because this is not under any pressure, but I'm just gonna do it. And thread that into the cap. Next, I'll use one of these quick disconnects. I'm back here at the camper drain. This is where I put the other part for the quick disconnect onto the end of our drain pipe here. All I have to do now is put the cap onto the other tank here. And our gray water tank is ready. For the freshwater tank, I'm gonna start out the same way. I've got the lid, and I've got my garden hose adapter, and I've already taped it with thread tape. Now, for this clean water tank, I only wanna thread that in halfway because I wanna leave those bottom threads because I'm gonna do something different with those. I've got a 3/4 inch coupler here that's threaded to slip adapter, and then I've got a 3/4 inch to 1/2 inch adapter, and then I've just got this short length of 1/2 inch PVC. I'm gonna put my PVC glue in there, slip the adapter in, and then put my PVC glue in there. The plumbers are all cringing right now. I'm just gonna slip that in there. And then remember whenever I said, don't thread that all the way through, leave the bottom half, because I'm now going to thread that to the bottom half. I'm gonna measure down to the bottom of this container to the top, and we have 21.5 inches. So I'm just gonna measure from the bottom of the cap, if I can get it up on there, and that was 21.5, so I'm gonna measure down to 21 inches, and it'll just be a ½ inch down there. And that's where I'm gonna cut it at. Probably don't use a rusty hacksaw blade when you do that. I'm gonna clean that, I'm gonna sand that off. Just set that down in there, and then that is our line to pick up water from the bottom of the tank. Super simple. All I've got to do now is add the quick disconnect onto the top of this. Here is our pump, and it clearly has marked here for your convenience the in and the out arrow, which is wonderful. So it comes with this adapter for, barbed for ½ inch tubing, and then it also comes with this mesh filter. So one for each side, they figure. But I'm not going to use this on this side. I'm actually going to end up using it on the filter side, because that saved me from having to get another adapter, and the filter will go on the inlet side. To continue the line on the outside from the clean tank to the inlet on the pump, I picked up this ½ inch vinyl tubing. It's ½ inch inner diameter, 3/4 inch outer diameter. And then I picked up some of these hose clamps. So I'm just gonna go ahead and prep this one side, okay? The rest I'm gonna have to do once we're inside the trailer. So I'm gonna slide that on there, and then I'm gonna put this barbed end that came with the pump onto there. And just tighten that down. For the outlet side of the pump, I'm gonna use this 3/8 inch to ½ inch brass coupler. And I could probably just hand tighten that and that'll be fine. The reason I'm putting that on there is because up underneath here, I'll show you, because it'll be easier out here than it is in the camper. This faucet has a hot and a cold water supply. I'm just using the cold water, but in order to make that work, that's what's gonna happen. Oh, you know what? Shoot! I forgot. I gotta cut this out. I'm gonna have to mark right here. There's so much room in here.
There we go.
I've got my gray water tank, which I'll put in, and I'm gonna connect that quick connect to that. And I don't know exactly where I want these to go for certain, but I'm guessing probably right there. And then here's my freshwater tank. I'll probably put like right here. All I have to do now is connect my cold water to my cold water line to my line coming out of the pump. I'm going to leave extra in case I want to move it around. So I'm going to cut it right here. So here is the quick disconnect that I took off earlier. That was part of the quick connect that went onto the freshwater tank. And what I'm going to do is thread this ½ inch barbed connection onto that. And then that barbed connection will go into my ½ inch tubing. Do you want to see like the dumbest thing in the world, like when you're filming what you do? How many people caught that while I was doing that? Like, how dumb, how dumb can you be? Let's redo that. Let's fix that and put it on the right side. So then that will just come up to the freshwater tank. So all I have to do is plug that pump in. All right, good job. Thank you, baby. Give us some water there. Oh, I see it. I see it. Oh, we got a leak. Ooh, where's all that water coming from? Okay, let's see here. All right, let me see the camera. Okay, let's see. Go ahead and turn the, okay, cut it off, cut it off. Okay. One thing I kind of wondered about, and then I quit wondering about it, was since normally you might would just want to use a cold water only faucet for this, because then you've just got the one inlet for the water, and because this has a cold water and a hot water, whenever you cut this on, the water comes in through the cold, and then it's coming out the faucet, but it's also shooting out the hot water opening at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is connect the hot water line, and then I'm going to run to the plumbing store or Ace Hardware, something like that actually, and get a cap so that I can plug up this other end, and then that should fix that leak. I'm back from Ace Hardware, and all I could find there, they were out of a lot of stuff, but anyway, I got this 3/8 inch to 1/2 inch. It's a 3/8 inch compression fitting to 1/2 inch pipe fitting, and I had to get it in a 90 because that was all they had. And then I got this 1/2 inch pipe cap, and all together, this should cap off our line. Now I could have, if they had it, I could have gotten just a plug to plug in for the 3/8 inch hot line, but they didn't have that. And this will keep me from losing this line later if I ever want to connect hot water, which is why I got the hot and cold faucet anyway. So let me get this connected. Through the pipe. And it's working. How cool is that? We now have running water in our hurricane bug out conversion camper RV thingamabobber jigger. But let's see, we do have an issue with drainage though, I see here. Let me get over here, Stinker. This 7-gallon jug is just a little too tall, I think, and that's what's hurting my drainage because it's having to go down the drain, go down the pipe, and come up, and it's having to go up higher to go into that 7-gallon container. So I may have to cut the bottom of the cabinet out to drop the container down lower. And once you filled up your gray water tank, just disconnect it, take it outside, take the lid off, and dump it in your neighbor's yard. I couldn't stand the way all this was fitting together, so I went back and cut out this square, not particularly nice and neat, using my oscillating saw, and now that will hold both tanks right there down lower to allow the water to drain better, and it'll hold the tanks in place. But I ran into a problem. I thought one thing I could do was to cut this drain line shorter, and here, I cut it shorter, and yeah, I cut it too short, but it's because I could only cut it in the center. That was my only option. So what I've had to do now is I ran to the, well, first I got a haircut, check that out. And I went and got some 3/4 inch vinyl tubing, 3/4 inch inner diameter. And I've already connected with a hose clamp the end that goes to my gray water tank. I gotta cover my face to make that focus. Now all I've gotta do is pull off that piece right there. I'm gonna unscrew this because it's very easy to do. There's just 2 screws that hold this up in there. I'm going to take this drain off, and I'm going to replace this hose with this hose. I added this surge protector so that I could also plug in the refrigerator and the pump and possibly the microwave. We'll have to see how that works out. And I think I've got everything pretty much buttoned up. All right, Stink Pot, you want to give it a shot? Let's see how it works.
Not leaking.
No leaks. Keep it going. I want to try something else cool, and that involves using this. I didn't even know these things existed until recently. And let me turn this generator off first. This is a 50 amp to 15 amp adapter. I want to switch from using the 30 amp power. Got all these adapters in case I need them. There's my 50 to 30 amp adapter. But I am not going to plug this in to the Predator 3500. Let me show you what I'm going to plug this into. This is my brand new EB70 from Bluetti. Okay, seriously though, Bluetti sent me this a little while back to try out and see what I thought about it, and let's see what I think about it, okay? So this has a 716 watt hour battery. Am I getting that right? Listen, I'm not a generator expert, okay? That's the size of the battery. It has a 700 watt pure sine inverter with up to 1400 watts max, you know, for starting things up. Let's go over some of the features of this. First off, we've got our display. You can see I'm kind of bouncing around from, okay, I'm at 100% power right now. I've got my 4 AC outlets. I've got 2 100 amp USB-C outlets, 2 of the old-fashioned 5 volt 3 amp USB-A outlets. Got your cigarette lighter DC right there, and you've got your light, low and high, and SOS. It comes with the AC wall adapter, or you can charge it, you know, with your car with the DC adapter for inside your car. But my absolute favorite thing about this thing, because I mean, it's just awesome. Let me show you. Let's get outside. Bluetti also sent me a 200 watt solar panel because the EB70 can accept 200 watts of solar power input. And that, my friends, is awesome. When a company contacts me and says, hey, we'd love to send you a generator or some backup power, I'm like, yeah, send it. Let's see what we can do with it. It's a perfect day. As you can see, if you look at the sky, it's a perfect day to check out solar power. Heavily overcast. The sun is not in sight. One of the things I want to test out with this is to see what I can run in the trailer. Now this is not going to power the AC, but I do want to see if it can power our new water pump. All right, so I'm going to plug that in right there. Now my solar power is in, and we'll see in a second what our input is. 200 watts of solar panels, and currently we're getting 14 watts of input. Hey, I told you, it's cloudy out today. That's the only downfall of solar generators. But while we're at basically 100% power on this, I want to test out and see what will happen with the trailer without the AC on. So nothing is on in the trailer right now. Okay, so let's come down here and let's show the screen, and I'm going to turn the lights on and we'll see what happens. Okay, so there's our output, 57 watts of output. Now I want to go to the surge protector that's underneath the sink and turn on the pump and the refrigerator in here and see what happens. And our refrigerator is cold. I've already had this going because I had it connected to the Predator earlier to get it nice and cold in here. Freezer's good, and it is running. So I am thoroughly stoked about this. This is powering essentially all the stuff I would need to power when the AC is not on. About 152 watts with everything running, and that water is not going to be running the whole time. Without taking into account the solar power going into it, we would get, 7 hours of battery use out of this. One other really cool feature that I didn't mention was it has wireless charging for your phone on top. To me, you basically can't have too many forms of backup power, and something so small that can do so much is pretty cool to me, and I'm pretty excited to have it. Probably got 2 more videos to do on this trailer because I've got to replace the AC now, and there's just a few finishing touches. I mean, I've got to do a cabinet door on the bottom, and then this thing will be just about ready for hurricane season because we are in the middle of it and we've got storms on their way. Anyway, I'll see you next time.